The man that has turned into a bit of a goal and assist king this season, Mr. Jacob Murphy. Is it just a purple patch, or has our right winger become a much better player, as he seems to continue to be a player that a lot of fans don't want to say too many positive things about? We're going to look at him a bit closer and what maybe the future holds for that right wing position for Newcastle. So if you're curious, Newcastle fans, do us a little favour and make sure you stick around. Welcome back to Black and White Banter, ladies and gentlemen. I hope all is well in the aftermath of what felt like quite a shock defeat down in a very difficult match, we must all admit, down at Aston Villa. The six-match winning run came to an end, but there was a lovely Carabao Cup along the way as well, and Champions League football is still in our hands. But in the aftermath of that defeat, as I said at the start of this video, I was quite surprised in my Black and White Banter WhatsApp group to see one name mentioned, and that was Jacob Murphy. Now, I think collectively everybody last Saturday was pretty bad, but it did get me thinking. Jacob Murphy continues to be a player that at times is maybe this season's scapegoat when results haven't gone in our favour, and we do always generally look for one. You could argue the likes of Longstaff, Dan Burn in previous seasons have all been in that position. But is Jacob Murphy going through the purple patch, as some fans continue to tell me? Or can we all just look a bit closer and admit that he's maybe improved a lot as a player and he's serving us pretty well? Now, I think the one very impressive statistic with Mr. Murphy on that right-hand side is not only that he's one of the only players scoring and assisting that doesn't have a chant. I'm your biggest fan, I'll follow you until you love me. I love that Lady Gaga thing. That one needs to get going more in the stands. But also the fact that he is only third since the start of December behind Mr. Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king who's about to lift the Premier League title, and our very own Alexander Isak for goal contributions in terms of goals and assists. That's impressive in itself. But again, a lot of Newcastle fans will continue to go back to the fact that that is just a purple patch, and then his all-round general play, other than the goals and the assists, isn't quite there. So let's take a closer look. Well, firstly, what I find fascinating is that Jacob Murphy, by stats, and the fact that, you know, calling a spade, we would all admit to this, even those who maybe aren't a bigger fan of him as a player, he has improved year upon year upon year. And I'm going to put the graphics on the screen for you to look at. The attacking progression, and that's goals, that's assists, that's chances created, have all got better and better and better, particularly under Mr. Eddie Howe. And he's now thriving in the best season of his life. So are we looking at a purple patch, or are we looking at a player who has just continued to improve and embed himself in this Eddie Howe system more and more and more? Now, there's one Paraguayan that a lot of Newcastle fans might point to that might say that Jacob Murphy's experiencing the same thing. Back in the 22-23 season, Mr. Miguel Almiron, everyone's favourite child-looking footballer, once upon a time, the most smiley face you'll ever find in world football, he went through, by strong definition, a purple patch. From October to December, he scored 90% of his goals, including a couple of worldies. This one at Fulham, I still don't know whether he meant it. That was the one that got the ball rolling, and it was just rockets against the likes of Everton, against Aston Villa, against you name it. Everything he touched was turned into goals. And a lot of people are saying that Jacob Murphy is experiencing similar. But firstly, I just want to say, Miguel Almiron, as I've already mentioned, by definition, was a purple patch. It was 3 months, October to December. All, if not most of his goals were scored then, and he only registered 2 single assists. 2 assists all season. Jacob Murphy, by comparison, has been a mainstay on the right side of midfield for most of the season, where we are now currently in a position where Champions League is in our hands. We've been as high as third, and most importantly, we went all the way to the Carabao Cup final, where he played and we won the match to lift our first domestic trophy for over 55 years. That's not a purple patch for me. I think Jacob Murphy has been quite consistent for most of the season. Now let's talk about a certain Mr. Alexander Isak, a striker that we would all probably claim is world class, and if not, our best footballer at the club. A couple who might rival him in the likes of Tonali, Bruno's, but generally speaking, Alexander Isak is one of the hottest goal scorers in Europe. Are we really trying to claim that he would come out and say he doesn't enjoy playing with Jacob Murphy, that he's not good enough for him? Because those two, assisting to goals scored as a pair, have got the highest stats this season in Europe. And I can name on countless occasions the amount of balls, including this one against Brentford I'll put on the screen, pinpoint, whipped into the box. He knows Isak's movement. He delays his run down the right-hand side, but puts the ball in. Against Crystal Palace, there was 3 beautiful balls put in the box inside the first 10 minutes. And this is all eating into what a world-class striker loves. And, you know, Alexander Isak has hit 20-plus goals in 2 consecutive seasons. Jacob Murphy has contributed a hell of a lot to that. And it makes you wonder whether this player that so many people continue seeing isn't that good and is going through a purple patch, would he be missed if he left the club by our main striker? I'd argue yes, he probably would. Now, one thing a lot of Newcastle fans will say is the stats don't tell the whole story. You need to watch a match to understand where he maybe goes missing and where his weaknesses are. And whilst to a degree, I will say that there's been performances this season from Jacob Murphy, like most players in our squad, that haven't quite cut the mustard. I remember Leicester at home, the start of that beautiful win and run in December, when he scored twice, but I actually thought, ironically, he was having a really bad game, giving the ball away loads before he scored our opening goal and just not really contributing too much to the team. But this, again, led me to do a bit of a deep dive into some of Jacob Murphy's wider stats in terms of passing, in terms of possession, in terms of take-ons. And I even compared to what I would class, generally speaking, as some of the best right wingers in the Premier League to see how he compares. Mohamed Salah goes without saying. Bukayo Saka, second place Arsenal, goes without saying. Jared Bowen, another one, and Mr. Mbeumo, and he was the interesting one because so many Newcastle fans, me included, would love to see Newcastle United go after Mbeumo, Brentford's main man, in the summer. So how did he compare? Well, it's no surprise that Mohamed Salah and Saka, on a lot of these stats, attacking stats, go a little bit above and beyond because they are playing for 2 teams, first and second in the league, creating lots of chances and contributing. Obviously, Saka's had a bit of an injury, but when you put Jacob Murphy against Mbeumo, against Jared Bowen, who, yes, he's in a poor West Ham team, but he's still a very, very good right-sided player. The stats are very close on a lot of numbers, and interestingly, Jacob Murphy's got the most successful take-ons this season out of any of them players. And that is a criticism that a lot of Newcastle fans will say, is that he can't take a man on. His possession stats, very, very close to a lot of them in terms of retaining the ball and successful passes overall, short, medium and long. You're talking 3% differences. So let's look at wider. His shot accuracy is second in Newcastle United to only Alexander Isak. We all know he can absolutely ping one into the box, but we all know he can also crack one at goal when he needs to as well. The one against Crystal Palace, je ne sais quoi. Still don't know how that one hit the back of the net. He's second only to them. So these are all really positive stats for Jacob Murphy, and comparing him to Mbeumo, I thought was really, really interesting. So what's my opinion? Where do I see Newcastle going with Jacob Murphy moving forward? Well, firstly, I just want to say, I don't think he's going through a purple patch. I think he is a player who has worked incredibly hard to keep improving. I also think he's a player who knows Eddie Howe's system, like Kieran Trippier does, like Bruno does, like Alexander Isak does. He knows the system because he's been with Eddie Howe from the start, like the back of his hand, and he fits really well into it. I also think he's a quite unusual winger who likes to put the ball in. He likes to cross the ball at every opportunity. Very different to an Mbeumo, a Saka, who wants to cut inside, or a Mo Salah and take the ball in. Very different in their own way. So what do I think Newcastle should do in the summer? I do still believe we should go out and sign a right-sided midfielder. I think we should keep Jacob Murphy, hope he continues progressing. Why not? And if he does continue progressing, just let him and a new signing, and Mbeumo would be lovely, go at it and see how that goes, because I know that Alexander Isak, our main man up top, likes playing with him. Get the 2 to go. It builds our squad depth if we hopefully get Champions League, and go from there. But anyway, Newcastle fans, get down. Let me know your thoughts on Jacob Murphy. Are you one of these who is happy to see him doing well, but just think he's not a very good player and he's going through this purple patch, let's say a black and white patch? Or do you want to see him in the team continue next season, even maybe just as a squad player if we spend some money in the summer? I want to know. Get down. Thank you very much for watching, Newcastle fans. Massive game against Ipswich coming up this weekend. There'll be lots of videos coming for that, and get Black and White Banter across all social media. Love yous all. Now go and enjoy the rest of your week. Away, lads!